Please remain behind the yellow stripes until your test vehicle comes to a complete stop.
Just stay in your seats, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll blow you up as soon as possible.
Out of the deep freeze into your heart, you gotta think about every bite you take.
Veggie fruit, fruit, veggie, veggie fruit, fruit, veggie fruit, fruit, veggie, veggie fruit.
In this urban paradise, we have located one individual who has reached the very pinnacle of health and fitness. It is now our pleasure to present the unqualified champion of healthy living.
WDW Radio, your information station. Hello, my friend, and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your Walt Disney World information station. I am your host, Lou Mongello, and this is show number 587, and I'm here once again not only to help you have the best possible Disney vacation experience, but I also want to bring you a little bit of that Disney magic wherever you are with the podcast, live video broadcast and chats every Wednesday night on Facebook, blog, special events, including our virtual Meet to the Month, books, audio tours, and more, whether it's your first time visiting the Disney parks or you've been hundreds of times. If you're planning your next Disney vacation or just love the history, details, secrets, and stories, there's something in the show for you, because each week I'm going to take you from the parks to the screens and everything in between. If you're a new listener, welcome, thank you. Please go back and check out some of the past episodes for interviews, top 10s, reviews, and more. Please subscribe to the podcast in Apple Podcasts, and you can find everything else at WDWRadio.com. So I'm going to open up the inbox again this week to answer more of your questions and pose some for you to answer as well. Topics this week include an extinct, unique show that once took place in front of the Magic Kingdom, rumors of a new Disney water park, moderate resorts in Walt Disney World, current and former Disney parks music, and some best of the best lightning round questions. I'll then have the answer to our last Walt Disney World trivia question of the week, and I'll pose a new challenge for your chance to win a Disney prize package. Then stay tuned to the end of the show for some more updates, your voicemails, and more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show.
I'm walking right down the middle of Main Street, USA. Well, it's the heart of America, the heartbeat of a holiday. You see the greatest smiling faces up and down the street. It's remarkable how friendly all the people can be. I'm walking right down the middle of Main Street, USA.
Now more than ever, we need each other as a community to be there for each other, support one another, and help each other any way that we possibly can. And while these are strange and difficult and confusing and frustrating and, yes, scary times, I still not only want to help you, but bring you some of that Disney magic and positivity and hopefully some happiness with and through the show and the community. So I'm going to open up the inbox again this week, pick out some of your questions to answer on the show, and have some fun along the way. And joining me is someone who also loves to help. It's what she does. Dare I say it's what she lives for, to help wonderful travelers like yourselves and have a little bit of fun too, usually in a lounge, club with numbers in its name, etc. She is, of course, Becky Mankin, the queen of the castle over at MEI and Mouse Fan Travel.
You had to go ahead and mention lounges, because right now I am missing them. I am missing going out of my house. I am missing being inside an airport. I am missing packing my lonely suitcase. I don't know what to do with myself right now.
These are strange days, and I think we are all missing the Disney parks and resorts for a lot of different reasons. And I think, what's interesting, Becky, is I think that for a lot of people, you are maybe realizing or validating the idea that the thing that we miss about the Disney parks is not the Disney parks itself. And what I mean by that is, I don't think anybody is saying that they miss riding Big Thunder, and they miss seeing the show, and they miss just being there, right? They just missed being in Magic Kingdom and just hearing the sounds of the trolley go by and that ragtime music in the background, or Wandering World Showcase, or stepping foot inside Pandora or Galaxy's Edge, and just being surrounded by people like you that get it. And it's just that feeling of being in this wonderful, safe, happy place.
Yeah, you actually asked that question the other day and said, what's the first thing you're going to do when you can go back into the parks? And
you said drink, understandably.
No,
I get it. No, that's fine.
I actually didn't. I may have thought it, but I did not say that. Other people were thinking about, what attraction they're going to go on, or what queue they're going to go stand in, or what fast pass they're going to grab. And immediately my thoughts were going to, I just want to walk into the gates of Magic Kingdom. I want to get a coffee from Starbucks. I want to sit somewhere on the side and on Main Street on a bench and just soak it all back in. I mean, I had no idea how much I would miss just the atmosphere, the music, the sounds, the smells. And yes, for you, I know you missed the tastes. I know you were dreaming about corn dogs and popcorn and chimichangas, things in a cone. I just want to have that feeling of sitting there and watching everybody enjoy the parks and listening to the background noises. I crave that so much right now. And then after that, I'll go have a drink. What? Yeah,
we keep talking about where we would go first and what we would eat first. For you, would be what would you drink first, and where would you go? And yes, I want to ride the TTA and the Haunted Mansion. I just want to, but like you said, I just want to sit on Main Street. I want to just sort of be able to be in that place again in any way, because I miss it, and it hurts my little heart not being able to be there. So there's a good chance I'm going to weep when I walk in the gate. I will out and outright cry when I step foot back into the boathouse. So I'm preparing myself for what's to come. But as far as
I fear for the people at the boathouse, because you were going to go running in there like I have a picture in my head, but I can't articulate it correctly. But it's going to be a hot mess. So I hope they're prepared for you.
It's going to be difficult to not actually go and hug them. I will keep my social distancing guidelines appropriately as dictated. But man, I'm going to feel like I want. And look, I'm not kidding. Like, I do miss the physical contact. I miss the meets of the month. I miss sweaty hugs at the marathon. Like, I do. I miss that, and I cannot wait to we get back to some semblance of normalcy in the Disney parks. And in terms of questions this week, I think this is sort of in a very special edition of listener email. I want, because the parks are closed, I want to mix in some listener questions that maybe are not necessarily vacation planning specific, like, oh, I'm supposed to be coming in August, because I think a lot of those plans have changed. I want to mix in some things that will allow for some general conversation and a few opinions, and maybe we'll have a little bit. Oh, you look scared because you know that you don't know what I might be throwing out at you.
I'm
and
always
this
scared.
This is part of the fun.
In the normal world, I'm terrified. And then you just have to, throw in 2 months of captivity. And I'm definitely, bring it on.
All right. So I'm going to lead in with, I did sort of do a little bit of inbox reconnaissance
You're
to
not
try
supposed to do that beforehand.
Well,
that's not how the rules are played.
You probably wouldn't have liked the first one that I picked out randomly, which is why I was like, let me just throw you a softball, right? Let me sort of ease you into this. And also for you, the listener, one that might be or should be helpful to you as you do start to think about planning your next trip back to the parks. And I think we realize now more than ever the importance of using a travel agent like MEI and Mousefan Travel. So with that, I give you a question from Scott Wertman. Like me, it's short and it's sweet. It says, in your opinion, what is the best moderate resort? Now, I'm going to give you a second to think about it. Obviously, we know that Caribbean Beach, Coronado Springs, and the 2 Port Orleans resorts, French Quarter and Riverside, are moderate. I believe the cabins at Fort Wilderness are also sort of classified as moderate technically, but I don't necessarily think of them as a moderate because they're cabins. So for you, and I know you don't normally stay in the moderate resorts, but if you were to say that you had a favorite, I will let you go and answer first.
Hands down, because this does fit in the moderate category. I am in love with Coronado Springs at the Grand Destino Tower. I think that is probably, to me, that the tower itself is the best moderate on property. In terms of granted, it's brand new, but the design, aesthetic, the activities, and the restaurants that are available to you, I think that it is one of the, especially, I know, just wait, I'm going to go here for a second. If you bump up to the concierge level, it's probably one of the best concierge levels on property. And I think that for the money, what you get in the tower is one of my very, very favorite places to stay. And I have stayed there several times, by the way. So yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites.
So, and I think the tower, it's almost cheating, right? It's almost adding that into Caribbean Beach is almost cheating, because I want to sort of put a little asterisk on that, because I think that's a very easy answer, not just because it's
into
newer.
Coronado.
I'm sorry?
Into Coronado.
Into Coronado. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because traditionally, all of the moderate rooms at Caribbean, the Port Orleans, have had certain features that are unique, not unique to, but specific to all the moderate resorts. So, for example, they all always had the rooms were always available via exterior hallways, right? So if you think of Caribbean, the Port Orleans resorts, even the Coronado Springs, this is different, right? This is the first sort of tower hotel in the moderate category. Like, I almost didn't even think of Grand Destino, because it's like moderate plus, right?
It's technically a moderate.
It is technically a moderate, and I think that you're right. I say it's moderate plus because it is a tower. It does have a different level of dining, but it still does come in the moderate resort category in terms of pricing. And I think that's one of the beauties of it too. For me, when I thought about it, I almost sort of mentally excluded Grand Destino, right? Because it's like moderate with an asterisk for me. I started to think about the ones that traditionally I would go and visit. And I've always had this love of the Port Orleans resorts for a number of reasons. I think Caribbean Beach Resort has a possibility, what I think was almost, for a lot of people, one that was where they would go if they couldn't stay somewhere else, or based on price or based on theming. Now, because of the Skyliner, Caribbean Beach all of a sudden moves way up, because you've got that conveyance, that transportation system that is also an attraction. I think there's a huge convenience factor with that as well. But I've always been partial to the Port Orleans resorts. I've loved the theming.
Beignets.
I love the pools.
All about the
I didn't even mention the dining at there. Now, although Port Orleans French Quarter doesn't have its own table service restaurant, it's a very quick walk or bus or boat ride away from Riverside. And I love boat rides, and I love River Roost Lounge, and of course I love Yeehaw Bob. If I had to choose, it's really hard, because I think, like you said, Grand Destino is sort of a game changer. And when I think of Grand Destino, I go right out to Three Bridges outside. Mm-hmm. I think of the Dahlia Lounge. I think of the dining options. The new rooms in there are spectacular. They're very clean. I love the simple yet comfortable lines and colors and theming inside. I might stick with Port Orleans just for the nostalgic in my heart, because I think also too the one thing I'm gonna make my own argument for myself to bump Port Orleans up. The one thing that Grand Destino does not have that I wish that they did was a quick service option inside the resort. You can walk through a breezeway over to Coronado, and there's the marketplace over there. But I would almost love sort of a quick kind of grab and go. You can get some little breakfast muffins and stuff like that from the lounge downstairs in the morning. But I think that's the only thing that the resort is missing, is just that the quick service grab and go type of an option.
Yeah, but that walk isn't that far. Actually, it's a really quick walk to go to do the grab and go over Coronado. So I'm still going to stick with that. While I love Riverside and French Quarter because I like the intimate feel of those resorts, even though they are close together, they still feel very cozy and very comfortable, and some great dining options over there, clearly. And yes, beignets, which you can't go wrong with a good beignet. And then you have the water transportation over to Disney Springs, which is a nice benefit too. But for the longest time, poor Caribbean Beach was suffering reputation-wise from just being so spread out. It was hard to get a bus, and a lot of people were kind of, that wasn't their favorite place to go. But like you said, the Skyliner became a game changer, because if you're in one of the buildings that is down there next to the Skyliner station, that really does improve the transportation options. And for the low cost of the Caribbean Beach, being able to easily get to Epcot or to Hollywood Studios, it's hard not to make an argument for that.
Yeah, but and then I go back to something that you said, obviously, because, hi, Becky, that back at I think if you want to sort of do a moderate plus, and I think Gran Destino can almost rival some of the deluxe resorts.
Yeah.
I think the Kronos Club in the tower, which is the concierge lounge, like you said, is not only one of the nicest concierge lounges. I mean, I peer in the window and I look in and I wave to all the happy people inside. But I did get a chance to tour it when the resort first opened. It's beautiful. It's comfortable. They have all of the different, snack and dining options. It's also the best value in terms of Coronado, in terms of concierge level upgrades, because they can run from, the hundreds of dollars to $275 per night plus, depending on the resort and the room tier in the season. And Kronos Club, if you time it just right, could be less than $100 per night to upgrade to concierge level. And depending on how you travel and how you vacation with your family, like that might be like one of the best values that you can get in terms of concierge. Yeah,
because they're the menus that they serve in there, it's not just basic finger food. They really do have a well thought out menu that they put out for both breakfast and for snacks in the midday and the dinner options. I mean, when I was there, I think I ate most of my main meals up there in the concierge level because it was so good and there were great options and it was a great value. You're right.
Becky, just so you know, a pina colada is not considered a meal per se, like by definition.
It has fruit.
It
has one of the basic food groups. So come on.
So, question for you, my friend, the listener: which is your favorite of the moderate resorts and why? I'll put that question inside the Box People group on Facebook at wdwradio.com/community. Would love to hear your thoughts as to which moderate resort you love most and why. But we're going to move on to a question from Vanessa Otts, who says, Lou, I was reading in either Entertainment Magazine or Time Magazine that Disney is planning on building a themed water park in Charleston, South Carolina. It said that they purchased land and were expecting crowds of 50 to 70,000 people per day. Is this true? It was a recent magazine article, but it's just a snippet. I can't find the magazine to verify that I read it correctly, but I'd really like to know. Vanessa, my friend, you, like many others, every year or two or so, this conversation, this rumor, this speculation comes up again. One day it's Charleston, South Carolina. The next day, it's somewhere in mid-Texas. The next day, it's Colorado. Insert your state here because chances are it's made the rounds. The Carolinas, I will tell you, Virginia, Texas are some of the ones that continue to be brought up in terms of, I know that my best friend said that Disney just bought 50 acres of land from his uncle's butcher's cousin's nephew, and Disney. And there are oftentimes newspapers that report same that Disney is definitely coming, which I think is great if you want to drive up potential land speculation values. However, as far as we know, there are no plans currently to build any sort of theme park, any new resorts, certainly not a themed water park in South Carolina. I know the rumor of a water park comes up every few years ago. For a while, New Jersey and New York were an area of great speculation in terms of Disney buying property and building up there. And then once again, the same argument comes back to why they didn't build there in the first place, which was weather and it being so incredibly seasonal. I will tell you that we did do a show about some of the unbuilt Disney parks and some of the concepts that were much closer to reality than speculation back on show 558. We talked about some of the unbuilt Disney parks. Becky, I have a question for you.
Oh, boy.
And for you, our friend who's the listener. If Disney said, listen, we want to build another park, whether it be theme or water or any combination of the two, somewhere else in the United States, where would you like to see that park and why there?
Seattle, Washington, so I don't have to fly. Well, it's all the way up here in this corner up here, and we're big, huge Disney fanatics up here in the Pacific Northwest. I know it's 24 hours by car down to get to LA, so it'd be nice to have something in my backyard.
But it's so cold and rainy up there.
You know what? A couple of days ago, it was 85 degrees here. It was.
Did everybody just melt? Nobody knew what to do? They thought it was the apocalypse?
It was snowing in New York and it was 85 degrees in Seattle. Just saying. And it was actually 1 degree less than it was in Orlando the same day. So bring on May 2020. Arguments could be made for a new attraction park, water park, something, anything Disney does is going to be something that families are going to flock to. But an argument can be made for many areas within the United States. There are big populations of people in different areas. I think a lot of it would have to be, well, I say this with a little bit of trepidation that an argument would have to be made based on weather. But then again, if you look at Orlando, you're going to just go there and melt the moment that you walk in there in summer. So for me personally, I'm going to be selfish and say, bring it on to the Pacific Northwest. We'll take great care of you up here.
Yeah, I think salmon. There's arguments to build in a variety of different locations. I remember a few years ago where they were talking about, and again, it was verified and everybody knew it was coming, that Disney was going to build a park in Michigan's Upper Peninsula.
Right.
You talk about weather in Seattle, Michigan says, hold my beer. So it would be interesting, to see, because again, there's so many different variables that come into play, weather being just one of them, also the proximity to California and Orlando. You also don't want to do something that's going to potentially cannibalize, tourism to either of those places. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know that we would ever see a third Disney park domestically. I know years ago, do you remember when they were talking about building Disney quests throughout the country? They were going to put one in New York. I think they were going to put one in somewhere in the Midwest, which was going to be an expansion of, and the one in New York was going to be in Manhattan. They were going to be an expansion of the idea of what they were building, what they had in downtown Disney. in Walt Disney World, and they were going to have these sort of destinations, possibly even hotels in these locations as well. For a variety of reasons, they didn't happen. I don't know that they ever will, but it would be interesting. And again, I would love to know from you, other than your own backyard, where in the United States would you like to see another Disney park, and why there? You know, what can they put there that would make it so unique? And look, whether it's Arizona or Texas or somewhere in the Northeast where a huge population of Walt Disney World visitors come from, it would be interesting conversations to have. But yeah, definitely go back and check out show 558 for some other unbuilt Disney parks that almost were.
I mean, I was just thinking about the success of Aulani, taking the Disney flavor and putting it in a different location. That's been wildly successful there. And you could almost do things like that in different locations that have, again, a little bit of the flair and the taste of the Disney magic without being a full-blown theme park too.
Well, that's part of what they were thinking about doing for New York. It wasn't going to be a theme park, but it was going to be a multi-story tower with this sort of Disney quest,
thinking
or
like
Disney club, right?
Yeah, Great Wolf Lodge on Disney.
Yeah. So it would be interesting, and who knows, what might be planned for the future. I know there was a Disney quest in New York in the late 90s, but it really was just a very small derivation of what they have in Florida, what they had in Florida.
How about if they did something that was like, this would be the ultimate, have like a hotel complex somewhere that was all based on Marvel and all the Marvel characters and all like a big, massive hotel that you lived the experience and
stop it.
Go to
Just
Academy.
Stop it. Just
what?
Because I would just live there. Just build the Avengers Tower. Just build Avengers Tower or the Avengers. No. How about if? Wait. What if they built an Avengers campus where you would go, much like the Halcyon for like a Star Wars like cruise type experience? You go to the Avengers campus for like superhero training for 2 or 3 days, and you live your superhero adventure.
Did you just say days?
Somebody write this down.
Months?
Days.
Can we go months? Weeks. How about weeks? Like a 4-week immersive training program. I think that's awesome.
Cap just comes out, and like when you first all check in and you're all there, and he's like, Avengers, assemble. Oh my, forget it. My brain is falling out of my little excitable head.
Avengers! Assemble.
Yeah, you thought the Halcyon was cool? Yeah, you would have to be drug out of there kicking and screaming. It's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Mongello, your Amex is refusing the charge. You need to leave now, sir.
Pack my underoos. I'm on my way. That's all I have to say. So I just got really excited about this idea, an Avengers campus. So
glad I could make your day.
Thank you. Look, I'm a 7-year-old kid trapped in a 50-something-year-old body. So, all right, let's move on. We're going to go forward by going backwards. And longtime listener and friend Kelly Linsenbigler says, I have a throwback question from when I was a kid. Insert dream sequence music here. I kind of remember, thank you, a water ski show in front of the Magic Kingdom. Or am I thinking of one of the older Florida water parks? Now so Kelly, this is interesting because a lot of times I'll get questions and they say, I remember at Walt Disney World, there used to be this thing. I'm convinced they had this thing at Walt Disney World. And maybe it wasn't there, but it was sometimes at some of the nearby hotels and resorts. But believe it or not, like the Ripley's TV show of the late 1980s, there actually was a water ski show in Magic Kingdom in the early 70s. This was something that goes back to when Walt Disney World opened. The tagline, the moniker, and really sort of the mission of this park to distinguish it from a place like Disneyland was that it was going to be the vacation kingdom of the world. This is not where you just went to go ride attractions and see shows and meet characters, but really it was a place to go on vacation. That's why they built the campgrounds at Fort Wilderness, right? And they had so many activities outside of the confines of the gate. So early on, they were testing a lot of different ideas for shows on land, in hotels, and yes, even on the water. And it was called The Wonderful World of Water Ski Show. It was also, I think it was also called Goofy's Wonderful World of Water Ski Show, depending on when you looked at the old recreation guides. Tickets were a whopping, sit down for this, it's clearly for the elite, tickets were 50 cents.
Wow.
Each.
Nice.
Or I think you might have been able to use a D ticket. I have to look at some of my old tickets. So they had shows 5 times throughout the day and night. So they actually had nighttime shows as well. And I think part of the reason was to help spread out the crowds in the Magic Kingdom. Remember, in 71, 72, 73, the only thing that was there was Magic Kingdom. So you had the Poly, the Contemporary, the golf resort, which is now Shades of Green, and Fort Wilderness. So they really had to find things to do to get people outside the gates of the Magic Kingdom, which is actually where this water ski show took place. It actually took place on the Seven Seas Lagoon multiple times a day. And if you go back and look, and if you go back and find, there's an old like Vacation Land magazine from like 72 or 73. There were some promotional postcards and images that Disney put out. It was actually really impressive. They had this like 3-tiered 8-person water skiing pyramid. They had first tested out these like flex wing kites that were like hundreds of feet over the water. They had this huge ramp out front where they did all these like cool water ski jumps. So it was a fantastic show from a entertainment water ski perspective, but to make it even more Disney, they actually had characters in full costume.
What?
Do the math. Goofy, Pluto, Dumbo, the Fantasia hippos were all out there doing water ski acts. They were coming up onto the beach where, and that's where you would sit. You would sit on this sort of grassy knoll, right, sort of on the just outside of Magic Kingdom to watch the show. Like, it wasn't like you had there wasn't like a seating venue. There wasn't sort of this theater that you would go and sit in. You'd sort of sit down and squat like you're watching a baseball game from out in left field somewhere, and you would watch on the beach and the characters come by. It only lasted about, I think, 2 seasons. I think it only lasted 2 summers before
that popular, huh?
Well, I think it was not that it wasn't popular. I think it was just a test of not only what were guest satisfiers, but what was going to be unique. Remember, about this time, SeaWorld is open. And actually, I think a lot of the people that left who were part of the water ski show here ended up going over to SeaWorld because they started oddly enough, not long after this, SeaWorld starts their own water ski shows. But, this is, look, it also, I think, started to lay the groundwork for other shows that we saw later on, including Skylidoscope in Epcot, where there was things on the water and up in the sky. Look, even now, Epcot Forever with having things on the water, and you've got those kites with the trailing tails, much like you saw in the water ski show, still being used to the day. So it didn't last very long. I don't ever remember seeing it personally. I've only seen pictures and ads for it. I'd love to know if anybody actually was there or has pictures of themselves or their family on the beach watching the Wonderful World of Water Ski show.
Really cool. I had no idea that even happened. I learned something today.
Maybe I need to do a show about like extinct, I can't believe this existed in Walt Disney World kind of stuff, because there's a lot of things that were here and sometimes gone relatively quickly that people might be like, that's not true. There's no way they had this. And I won't spoil it because I've already got like 4 or 5 in
or like
my mind.
Disneyland.
And I'm not just talking about the Astuter Computer Review and Ham and Eggs and things like that. I mean things that like the water ski show, you might never have even known existed. So I need to write this down.
Or in Disneyland, where you had the Wonderful World of Bras on Main Street.
Well, not only did you have that, but you had pack mules. I mean, there was a lot of Disneyland, man.
The insurance shop. You could actually, people look at me like I'm nuts when I talk about the different stores. There were actually stores that you could walk into on Main Street and shop for these things. So the moment that you talked about, there was an actual lingerie shop on Main Street in Disneyland, and you get all kinds of looks.
Yeah, there wasn't a Wizard of Bras, which really was the name. I'm not making it up. There was no Wizard of Bras in Walt Disney World, but Main Street USA had its own fair share of interesting shops, as did Liberty Square. Again, I won't spoil it, but I'm assembling this top 10, which is now already more than top 10 in my mind. So top 10 things you can't believe ever existed in Walt Disney World. All right, let's find another one. That's all right. So as long as we're going backwards in time, Jeffrey Farnsworth, and I hear the name. This is really weird word association. I hear Farnsworth. I think Heaven Can Wait, one of my favorite movies as a kid with never mind. Warren Beatty, great movie. He says, "Hey Lou, this is the way my brain works. I'm sorry you have to be part of witness this." He says, "Hey Lou, who is the singer of Energy? You Make the World Go Round. I know the song was written by Bob Moline, but who actually sang it? The song's beautiful, uplifting melody has gotten under my skin, and I am blown away at not finding one single video of this or any of the other incredible Moline songs being performed live. What do you know about this, oh guru of trivia?" A lot of pressure. Thank you for your time in advance. An appreciative fan of your passion, spirit, and commitment to doing what makes you fulfilled in life. Wow, Jeffrey Farnsworth, thank you so much. It's the nicest question in the world. First of all, I need to add this to the list. Top 10 things you couldn't believe were in Walt Disney World. Michael Iceberg. I kid you not. Yeah, and I'm happy that you said, oh, I'm not kidding. And the Incredible Iceberg Machine.
What?
You know not. Oh, yeah.
Like Iceberg Right Ahead?
No, that's... Yeah, now I have to do this episode. Yeah, Michael Iceberg and the Incredible. It was in Magic Kingdom. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, let's go back to Energy. You Make the World Go Round from with the I hate to say the now extinct Universe of Energy attraction in Epcot Center, which was actually one of my favorites when I was a kid. Like, I thought that the size and the scope of... I loved the pre-show. And part of the reason why is I, too, like you, I love the lyrics. Sing it, Becky. Go ahead.
Sure.
Do you even know those?
Because I have to hold for Disney reservations for a long time.
I'm going to try not to... I'm going to try and resist singing
come on, sing. Oh,
I know, but I haven't.
Make it a first.
Listen, and you'll feel the heartbeat of a universe teeming with force. See all the forms and the faces of nature taking us.
I'm not
in my
sure
mind.
what
I'm
it is.
singing it, and it sounds
you
glorious.
You need to sing it out loud,
and feel the wonderful motion flowing through things far and near. Nature will share her secrets.
All I can hear is
hear
flames out the side of my head. That's all I hear right now. So
Energy.
At least give us a little.
These are a few of your faces.
Oh, you were
glowing.
So close. Come on.
It's really close. But okay, so I'm not singing it because I don't want to ruin the memory for you. But yes, it was the Bob Moline, brilliant songwriter. And it's actually hard to track down who sang this song. And I had to do a little bit of research to find this one in advance. It's actually sung by John Joyce. And the only way that I was able to find it was going back to a CD I have. And kids, CDs were like these small discs that you put into machines, and they made music come out. The official album of Walt Disney World Epcot Center had this song on it. And it was the only time that I've actually seen John Joyce's name mentioned. But Bob Moline, if you go back and look at some of his work, he's done a ton of things for the parks, including, we'll stick in Epcot Center, Golden Dream, which I'm not going to sing. Listen to the Land. Just listen to the land we all love. Nature's plan will shine above. Let's listen to the land. Listen to the... God, I love that song so much.
You have no problem singing in the car. So just go ahead and belt out a couple of lyrics for us.
One of these days. Oh, God, I love Listen to the Land. It was so
that for 13 years.
70s. Canada, the original song from Canada, Your Lifetime Journey, was his as well. Fantastic songwriter.
Why did I think that for some reason the song that I thought in my head about the Universe of Energy one, I thought it was a woman. So I'm thinking of the wrong song.
How does that song go? Oh, you don't like it, do you?
I'm not. If you're not going to sing, I'm not going.
Yeah.
to
So this was the original.
Sing it together.
This was a duet. Top 10 things that'll never ever happen in this universe or multiverse. Becky and I singing a duet. So.
Never say never. You never know.
But yeah, so Bob Moline actually passed away. I think 2010, 2011. But his work can still be heard, if not necessarily everywhere in the parks, at least in the memories of us who are early Epcot Center fans.
What am I thinking of? I'm just going back to my brain that there's a song that I'm thinking of that I hear all the time on hold.
I'm not going to help you. I'm going to wait until you remember it and then start singing it.
Okay.
So, all right. So let's stick in the Disney park music. I also need to do the best of the best, or a top 10 Disney park songs. This was, what I need to resurrect? I'm going way back to the beginning of WDW Radio in 2007. It was a segment that I started on my old show, Mouse Tunes, and we continued. I did the 7 Wonders of Walt Disney World, where I took the concept of the 7 wonders of the real world, and I brought them in to the idea of the 7 wonders of Walt Disney World. I need to revisit that. I've never actually repeated a segment in now what is 15 years of podcasting, but I'm going to write down 7 wonders of, wow, my chicken scratch. I'm never going to be able to read that. 7 wonders of Walt Disney, because the music of Walt Disney World was one of the 7 wonders. And so, long time, it says multiple long-time listeners. Cindy Potter Gus says, do you know if there are any websites where I can find and stream Disney park music? I had a favorite site that's now shut down. I love listening at my desk to the music and ride spiels. It makes my workday feel magical. Thanks for your help. Best to you and your family. Long time listener, Cindy Potter Gus. For a long time, it was really hard to find legal Disney park music online. There were some sites that were, streaming it and offering it, but like you said, they would get shut down. Thankfully, we have things like Spotify, which not only have a lot of Disney parks music, but there are some amazing Spotify playlists that have been curated by fellow Disney enthusiasts that you can find. If you look up Disney parks music, you'll find a plethora of different ones, including some of these older and hard to find ones. There's some great background music that you'll find that maybe you didn't know how to find by name, but you'll hear it and you'll recognize it. I know for me, for a long time, my white whale, my holy grail of music that I couldn't find was the song that played on the radio at Kilimanjaro Safaris. Becky, Kilimanjaro, you're looking at me quick. Kilimanjaro Safaris is this attraction in what?
I'm trying to think on the radio.
Yeah. So, you're sitting there and you're hearing Warden Wilson Matua talking, and he's interrupting some of the different radio, and then after he sort of talks about what's going on, the song was called Hapa Duniani. So
say that 5 times fast.
Right. If you go to Spotify or you just look up Kilimanjaro Safari radio music, you'll be like, oh, I know exactly what he's talking about. I love that too, because it would stick in my head. It didn't play very long. It doesn't play for very long. Excuse me, but
Bless you.
oh, bless you too. But so yeah, Spotify I think is one of the, or if you have Apple Music, I'm sure that there are probably some in there as well. Becky, do you have a favorite? Again, you talk about sitting on hold all day, and they play Disney Parks music when you call. Do you have a favorite Disney Park attraction song, background music, anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah, it goes back to my childhood. And every time it comes on, I don't want to go off hold. But it's a classic, and it's it's not random. It's the Haunted Mansion. I love the Haunted Mansion ride music, and the whole, that they actually, part of the queue music, they have the entire ride. So you can sit there and ride the entire ride on hold while you're, doing email and catching up with other things. But that's probably the one that I love the most. So
I love that answer because I love the attraction. I love the song. And what I love is that Grim Grinning Ghosts, other than the bridal march, the Here Comes the Bride march, Grim Grinning Ghosts is the only song you hear throughout the attraction. It is rearranged in lots of different ways and played using different instruments, and it's sped up and slowed down, but it is the only song that you hear throughout the entire attraction, which I think is brilliant in how you can take a single piece of music and rearrange it in different ways to make it sound like a completely different song. So
it was one of the very first albums I ever owned because my dad gave it to me, and I memorized every single word throughout the entire attraction before I went to Disneyland.
How does that
and
song
I still
go
sing
again?
I didn't. We'll have to wait for that. We'll have to have top 10 things that we sing.
Becky, let me just explain something to you. Despite what you might think, and you trying to drive and drink coffee and sing Blood on the Saddle at the exact same time, and I thought we were my poor children. You know what? You just made me, when you said that. When I used to pick up my kids from school when we lived in South Florida, I would serenade or torture, however you want to think of it. I would, probably torture by I would sing, different Disney songs. We'd play music in the car, and my jam was Blood on the Saddle. Oh, I'm going to do it to him right when I go downstairs right now, and I'm going to say,
why don't you share that with everybody right now? I think that'd be great. You did it on a live stream. Come
Becky,
on.
Top 10 things you don't want to hear. You do not want to hear me sing at all.
I'm not ever going to get you to sing, am I?
Probably not. So
I'm not going to stop trying, though. FYI.
All right, so prompted by the question we had earlier about the best moderate resort, I want to give you, we're going to do a little lightning round again, because I know how much you like these, right? So I don't want you to think about them too much because I don't want you to hurt yourself. We're going to sort of think of the best of the best of the best, right? We talked about what our favorite, or what you thought the best moderate resort was going to be. We're going to do a little sort of rapid fire lightning round. Put down the Googles and your cocktail, and just give me what you think of the best for each of these is. Ready?
See, the problem is I'm a Libra. I'm a true Libra, so I have to stop and think about both sides before saying anything.
Becky, you are many things. A Libra may or may not be one of them. All right, here we go. I'm not going to give you any time to mentally prepare.
Wow.
First, best of the best deluxe resort in Walt Disney World.
See, but you ask a question like that, and it depends on what you mean by that. So
best
for me,
of the best deluxe resort in Walt. I don't need an hour-long dissertation. I just need
really you're saying that of all people?
Pot kettle black. I know.
Pot kettle black, exactly. All right, for just the resort, not taking account how close they are to a theme park, Animal Kingdom Lodge.
So far away.
Oh no.
So what is it? So I'll ask you quickly. So what is it?
2,600 miles.
What's
it's
the
like
one
26
thing? What's the one thing about Lodge that you think is the best of the best?
You know what? I love the background music. I love the atmosphere. I love that it's transporting you into a whole different realm. You're been transported to Africa and walking out onto the savannah and seeing all the animals. I think I loved most is the memory when I stayed there when it first opened. I had a Savannah view, and I woke up in the morning. I just opened my eyes, and there was a giraffe just standing outside of my window. I just think that is one of the most peaceful locations, and I can breathe there. So I love the culture. I love the animals. I just love everything about that resort.
The right answer was just Sanaa. All you need to say is Sanaa.
Bread service.
Sanaa bread service, and you win. Right?
Yes.
I think arguments could be made for beach club, location, theming, dining, built-in water park, etc., etc., etc. Don't hurt yourself on this one. Best value resort.
Seriously?
Becky, value resorts are these places.
Yes. Art of animation.
Yeah, I think there's no, for all the reasons, including
there. I love the food court.
The food court is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's one of the best.
All right, let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum. Best of the best table service restaurants in Walt Disney World.
Well, it could probably be the one that you stood me up at. Which I had a lovely dinner all by myself, just staring at the plate across from me where someone was supposed to be so that we could experience it together. And I can never say the name right. It's Takome Tai.
Wow. Yeah, don't hurt your. It's Takumi Tai.
Thank you. I was just so devastated that I had to sit there by myself.
Oh, stop with the dramatics. It was more like, I'm at Takumi Tai. You want to come? Nope. All right, later. I'm eating by myself. I agree with you. I think Takumi Tai. I'm taking Boathouse out of the equation because Boathouse.
I was going to ask about that.
I think Takumi Tai is not only the best restaurant dining experience in Walt Disney World, Victoria and Albert's. I'm looking straight at you. Because you can go to Takumi Tai, V&A is a once in a lifetime, once every X amount of years to go. You can go to Takumi Tai more than once. It is immersive. It is beautiful. It is a performance. You are transported somewhere else. I cannot say enough good things. And one of these days, I'm actually going to do a live review there after I go back. When I go back and I weep the first time that I'm walking in the door, I just can't wait.
Now, for me, that restaurant, I loved the options. I loved the story. I love the water room. I'm not a fan of the decor of the other rooms. I think that I think it looks too much like a cafeteria.
Oh my gosh, you're such a diva. It's elegant in its simplicity.
The tables are way too close together.
That may not be anyway.
Well, that might not be a case anymore. That's true. But
that should feel like we've been to Japan. That's sort of like what Japan feels like.
This is true. You said V&A. Now I will say something for the ultimate to me is that chef's table experience. It is a special occasion scenario. It is something that is so unique and so wonderful. And anytime that you have a dining experience where you have to take a 30-minute intermission so that you can continue on, it has got to be a good dining experience. So from a top level, I adore that as well.
I agree that V&A regular chef's table, whatever, the Victoria room, is a special occasion dining experience. It is, if you can do it, it is something that you would maybe do once. Part of the reason why I put Takumi Tai above that, and I think by a lot actually, is because Takumi Tai is accessible, meaning that everybody can go, meaning there's no, you have to be 16 to go to V&A. You have to be very fortunate to be able to go to the chef's table in the kitchen, both for timing and for cost. I think Takumi Tai, while not being the least expensive meal you're ever going to have on property, does have the ability to go in and not have to spend the same amount of money. The menu also there's a lot of different reasons that, we can get into, but yeah, Takumi, I'm with you. Takumi Tai, and Boathouse, I still love you most.
Yeah, so. I absolutely loved the menu there. The food was great. And yes, the cocktail options were kind of cool too. So they did.
You're right. And there is one that it's the presentation. I don't know if you did the thing with the whiskey and the smoking. The presentation is outstanding. When I say that your meal is a show, much like it is in a lot of places in Japan. It absolutely is, which I think is what part of what elevates it to such a high level. All right,
Now,
very quick.
but wait a minute though, really quick, because we're on food. The other thing I really liked, the Toledo Steakhouse. I like that as well. I mean, there's a lot of great options. So yeah, and if you start talking Disney Springs, then we're in a lot of trouble too. So you better move on.
All right, and actually, this is a question from a number of people I know. Lori Evenhouse asked this one too. Becky, this may not be in your wheelhouse, but I'm going to ask you.
That's all right.
Best of the best character meals in Walt Disney World.
That's completely easy right now because I fell in love
Eating
with
with
this.
me is not a character meal. Just so you know, that does not qualify as a character
then
meal.
I'm out. That's it actually is kind of like a character meal. There's so many stories I have. I could go on all day, but I will tell you the one that I love and I will go back, and I've been ever since this opened, I've been back to it 4 times because I love this place, is Topolino's Terrace.
Yeah.
I love how that character dining is done. I love the menu. I love the choices on the menu. It's not just a standard buffet. It's nothing like that. You have really solid menu choices from the quiche. I love the quiche. It's so well done up there, and how the characters interact with people, and seeing Daisy in ballet shoes, and the music, and how they when they do the run around through the restaurant and they still come to your table. I think that is the best character meal on property right now.
Yeah, and this might have to be a top 10 list of the top 10 best character meals. And spoiler alert, Topolino can possibly come in very, very high. I think location, I think food options for the breakfast and brunch are fantastic and delicious. They had this spiced sausage hash, which was just fantastic. And I may or may not have eaten my weight in it. They have some of the different baked goods and stuff like in the center of the table.
Yes.
Can you refill this
bread,
please? Mr. Mongello again? Yes, please. Just one more time. Just a little bit more of the breads.
The bread is amazing, and you can't stop eating the bread. And how it's presented. It's just so well themed across the entire experience, from the moment you walk in to the moment you leave.
Yeah, and now it's all your fault. I'm starving.
Really?
Yes.
That's going to change from a normal day when?
It is. So listen, clearly I need to go get something to eat, and we will cut things here, but I want to know from you, and I'll post these questions at wdwradio.com/community, or you can just call the voicemail and answer and let me know at 407-900-9391. Let me know your favorite deluxe moderate value resort, your favorite table service or character meal in Walt Disney World. Again, these may be topics for future top 10 lists. And the beautiful thing is, every day we are getting closer and closer to being able to go back and experience them together for the first time in forever. It's going to be, again, top 10 things you don't want me to see. That might be very high up on the list. And when it comes time for you to start thinking about, having questions about, or planning your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, cruise line, any vacation, because let's face it, we all really need to get out of the house. When you're planning a vacation, please reach out to Becky and the entire team over at MEI and Mousefan Travel.
Yeah, thanks for that. Especially because a lot of people don't realize we're actually open and we are actually booking things. And right now we're booking into 2021. We can actually book basic packages right now, even though it's not released to the general public. So we're here to help Disney or beyond. We do things besides Disney from the MEI travel side, and would love to help you create a magical vacation experience that we're all going to need. I am looking around me going, where's the first place I'm going to do when I'm allowed to leave my house? It's where I have I am looking at these walls and I am going stir crazy and I need to travel, and I know others are going to have that feeling too. So whether it's a national park that you want to go to within driving range, we can help you with that. We can help you with cruises, which, by the way, a lot of people are kind of wondering about cruises right now, but I think it's probably going to be one of the safest places to go because it's going to be so well controlled. Others do too. There was a major cruise line that announced the other day that they actually had a 600% increase in their bookings, 200% over last year. So I'm very optimistic that we're going to get back to a normal. We're going to see each other again. We are going to walk in those gates and sit and have something in a cone or a corn dog or something on Main Street. It's like you said, we're one step closer to that happening, and I cannot wait to experience those things again.
Becky, to quote a fine elder statesman, I will quote Jack Shepherd from Lost, who says, "We have to go back, Kate."
We have to go back, Kate. We have to go back!
We have to go back. And that's exactly how I feel about the parks and the cruises and Japan. I'm coming for you. Oh my gosh, I miss so many of these places. More importantly, I miss the people. Becky, I miss you. Don't get hung up on that. I miss you, my friend, and seeing you in the parks and meets of the month and all those things. If we're continuing to do virtual meets of the month every month, if you go to wdwradio.com/community, check out the events page there. We'll do our next virtual meet of the month over video chat coming really soon, but I cannot wait to travel and cruise, and yes, who am I kidding, eat and hug you once again.
Didn't it seem like Tiana's was so long ago?
Oh my gosh. We were talking about that on the Nation Call the other night, like the French Quarter Lounge, which is one of my favorite places on the planet.
Gotta go back.
It seems like forever, so.
Yep. Oh my gosh, there's so many things to experience in so little time, and we need to travel again. And I miss you. I mean, it's been since March 6th since we actually...
You'll get over that. Once you see me again, you'll get over it very quickly. Wait, I have 2 words for you. Ready? Ready?
Yeah.
Ha-lo.
Strawberry soup. I am in love with strawberry soup, and the pizzas, the pizzas, and the chicken parmesan.
It's time for our Walt Disney World Trivia Question of the Week, where I invite you to test your knowledge of Walt Disney World's history, or see how well you pay attention to the details, sometimes in what you see or hear, maybe even taste. If you think you know the answer, you can enter via our online form for a chance to win a Disney prize package. Of course, before we get to this week's question, we're going to go back, review last week's, and select our winner. So last week, I took you to Adventureland in Magic Kingdom, and I said that after you cross the bridge from the central hub into Adventureland, you encounter 2 merchandise kiosks on your left-hand side, which are known somewhat affectionately, as we will see, Bwana Bob's. And I asked you to tell me what or who does this name pay tribute to. First things first, thanks to the hundreds of you who entered, got this one correct, and knew that the answer was Bob Hope. Kids, you'll have to look up who Bob Hope was, but originally this location was home to a ticket booth kiosk when the Magic Kingdom still used the old A through E system of ticket coupons. Today it sells pins and hats and jewelry and Hawaiian-themed Polynesian stuff. But back in 1980, it became a merchandise shop known as the Adventureland Kiosk. In 85 or so, it was renamed Bwana Bob's after the 1963 film Call Me Bwana, which starred Bob Hope. Now you're wondering, Bwana Bob Hope, what's the connection to Walt Disney World? Actually, Bob Hope appeared as a guest host on the NBC TV special entitled The Grand Opening of Walt Disney World, which aired on October 29th, 1971. Now, Bob was actually introduced in the show by singer Glenn Campbell. Again, you may want to Google who he is too. And he introduced Bob as the spirit of eternal youth. Bob made his grand entrance by riding into Disney's contemporary resort aboard Monorail Blue, joined by 2 VIP tour guides. He walks out introduces himself as Bob, ex-Mouseketeer Hope, and then asks the girls to wait for him in, of all places, Adventureland. So I took all the correct entries, randomly selected one, and last week, once again, you were playing for all of my digital products, which is my 102 Ways to Save Money for and at Walt Disney World book, all 7 of my virtual audio walking tours of the Magic Kingdom, where you'll hear facts like this about Bwana Bob as I take you on a virtual tour of the history, details, secrets, and stories, all with the binaural 3D audio sounds of the Magic Kingdom behind you. By the way, both of those can be found on Amazon as well as in Apple Music. I'm also going to send the winner a WDW Radio vinyl sticker, Magic Band cover, and a mystery prize from my personal collection. As you may have heard on past shows, I've been a collector of Disney and Star Wars since I was a kid, and the time has just come that I have run out of space, and more importantly, I want to share some of my collection with you. So I've been putting up 10 new items each week on eBay at wdwradio.com/eBay. Auctions begin and end Sundays at 9 p.m. They all start at $1 and no reserve. But what I'm also doing is taking some of those items, pulling them out from those lots, and I'm going to be including them as a mystery prize for this week's prize package. So last week's winner, randomly selected, is Danny Patel. So Danny or Donnie, congratulations. I have your address. Because you used the online form to enter, I will get your prize package out to you right away. If you played last week and didn't win, that's okay, because here's your next chance to enter in this week's Walt Disney World Trivia Challenge. So May marks the anniversary of the grand opening of the Disney MGM/Hollywood Studios, and when the park opened on May 1st, 1989, it had, believe it or not, only 5 attractions in operation. What was the first new attraction added almost immediately after the park's opening date? Right, so all I want to know is, what was the first new attraction that was added to the MGM Studios after the park opened in 1989? You have until Sunday, May 17th at 11:59 p.m. to go to WDW Radio.com, click on this week's podcast, use the form there. Again, you're going to play for the books, the audio tours, the vinyl sticker, Magic Band cover, and a mystery prize from my collection. But wait, there's more, because if you enjoy playing some of these trivia games, please join me every day on my Instagram stories at Instagram.com/Lou Mongello, as I will be doing a daily Disney trivia question. They're easy, they're fun, takes just a couple of seconds to play, and I think it's a great way to really test your knowledge and hopefully even learn something along the way. Again, Instagram.com/Lou Mongello. So for that, and for this week's contest, good luck and have fun. That's going to do it for this week's show. I appreciate you so very much for taking the time to tune in this and every week. Please don't forget to be part of the community and conversation by going to wdwradio.com/community and join me every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern for WDW Radio Live on Facebook, where each week I'll share my top 5 live with you. It's a top 5 from Walt Disney World, Marvel, or Star Wars, and you can be part of the conversation by sharing and creating your list, calling in. There's 20 question contests and lots more. Again, that's 7:30 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday night at WDWRadioLive.com. I also want to thank some of the new and longtime members of the WDW Radio Nation family, including Joy Johnston, Nancy McCullough-Thuringia, Michael Kell, Bara Schurz, David McIntosh, and Zachary Hoover. I sincerely appreciate you and your love, support, friendship, and help. And I also love being able to give back to you and say thank you each and every month. If you want to find out how you can help support the show and also receive exclusive rewards every month, including scavenger hunts, trivia games, we have a private Facebook group, custom Magic Band covers, logo gear, t-shirts, backpacks, care packages from Walt Disney World. You also have exclusive live video group calls, early access to special events, and lots more. To find out more, you can visit www.radio.com/support. Of course, it is completely optional, but it's a great way for you to help support the show. And don't forget that a portion of your contribution does go to our Dream Team project to benefit the Make-A-Wish Foundation of America. And thanks to you and your generosity and support, we have raised more than $300,000 to send children with life-threatening illnesses to Walt Disney World through Make-A-Wish. Again, to find out more, visit www.radio.com/support. If you have a question you want me to answer on an upcoming show, you can email me, lou@wdwradio.com, or call the voicemail be heard on the air with a question or a comment at 407-900-9391. That's 407-900-WDW1. You can also connect with me on social. I am at Lou Mongello on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Pinterest. And make sure you like the WDW Radio page at facebook.com/WDW Radio. And you know that as much as I love connecting with you that way, I still believe that there's nothing like having that face-to-face, look you in the eye, handshake and hug interactions. And right now, in the current state of things, we can't do that at the Disney parks, which is why for the last couple of months, we've taken our Meets of the Month and brought them online for virtual Meets of the Month. Our next one is going to be Sunday, May 24th at 8 p.m. And when I say virtual Meet of the Month, what I mean is we will gather in a video conference room via Zoom, get together, chat for a while. Of course, it's completely free and family friendly. If the room fills up, I will also simulcast it on our Facebook page at facebook.com/WDW Radio. To find out more, visit our events page at wdwradio.com/events, and stay tuned as things start to get a little bit clearer going forward in terms of our ability to get together. Find out more about upcoming Meets of the Month and special events. We do have our Marvel Day at Sea cruise coming this January. If you go to wdwradio.com/Marvel Cruise, you can find out more and get a free no obligation quote. And although I have unfortunately had to cancel my Momentum weekend retreat in Walt Disney World, or postpone it for a while, I still want to be able to try and help you turn what you love into what you do, turn your idea into reality and your passion into your profession, whether it's with one-on-one coaching. We still have one spot left for our weekly mastermind call, and we'll hopefully still be able to go forward with our in-person Momentum Weekend Workshop in Walt Disney World this fall. For more information, visit LouMongello.com. And while I know that many events and conferences going forward have been canceled or postponed, if I can come and speak to your business or your group virtually, I'm able to do presentations and workshops that way, including what your business can learn and implement from the Disney parks, achieving the ultimate customer experience, the power of community, leadership lessons from Walt Disney, live video, podcasting, and other topics geared towards your business and your industry. Again, visit LouMongello.com for more information. And if you like the show, and I hope that you do, all I ask is that you please help spread the word, let others know about it, tweet out that you're listening to this or your favorite episode, share it over on Facebook, and if you can, take just 30 seconds to review and rate the show over on Apple Podcasts. Thanks to you, we have more than 2,500 five-star reviews. Everyone is so very important. I want to thank some recent reviewers like EnviroG, who says, "It's the best Disneyverse podcast. Lou's awesome. It's clear how passionate he is about all things Disney and enjoying yourself by yourself or with family at the parks and ships, not to mention the many Disney media outlets like movies and TV and Disney+. C Pals from Canada says, "It's just so fun to listen to the podcast because you feel how Lou and his guests love what they're talking about. I'm blessed to be a part of the WDW Radio family." Carmos77 says, "It's the only podcast I listen to. I started listening to Lou's podcast back in 2015 and is partly to blame as the fuel that fired up my Disney addiction in an awesome way. From helping me understand how to vacation at Disney better to learning about Walt Disney himself and the history behind it. I never knew there was such a large Disney community until I started listening to Lou's podcast." And that's from Karen. And Hambone, I dig the name, says, "It's such an informative Disney podcast. I just started listening to the podcast and I am hooked. It's a great listen and provides great Disney insight for planning a trip or cruise and gives me the Disney fix when I'm not at Disney." And Disney_Moose says, "Great show. I've gone back and listened to every single show and have finally caught up. I only listened in my car, so it took me a while to listen to all of them, but now I need them even more, especially with the parks closed." Disney Moose, Hambone, Carmus, C Pals, and EnviroG, thank you very much, not just for taking the time to listen, but to review the show, but to really help spread the word. Again, to leave a review, just search for WDW Radio in Apple Podcast or go to wdwradio.com/iTunes for a direct link and instructions there. Finally, most importantly, I hope you are doing well. I hope you are staying safe and somewhat sane. Again, I know and understand and can appreciate how difficult and stressful these times are. Missing Walt Disney World for so many is the least of our difficulties and concerns. And I really do hope that now more than ever, I and this show and our collective community are helping to make your day a little bit happier, a little bit more positive, and reinforcing the idea that you can and should choose the good, right? Look for and find the good in everything that happens and everything you do. Take this difficult situation and turn it into something positive. Leverage this time to spend more time with your family, with your friends, to start going down that road of following that dream or that new idea. And if there is some way that I can help you beyond the show, please let me know. Reach out to me directly. Schedule a call over at LouMongello.com. I am here to help. Just let me know how. I look forward to the day that I can either see you again or meet you for the first time in the Disney parks. Until then, I really do hope that this is your best week ever. So until next time, see ya.
Hi, Lou. It's Elizabeth from Massachusetts. I just finished listening to the 2 recent-ish episodes that you did with Jim Corcus about Animal Kingdom. They were awesome. Again, so knowledgeable, so many different facts and pieces of information that I didn't know before. So I love when you have Jim on because we get to learn so much. That park is my mom's absolute favorite. It always reminds me of her. And I know that you guys kind of mentioned this in one of the episodes, but the way you can sort of get lost in that park and that it's not the traditional spoken wheel design that you also mentioned is one of my favorite pieces of it. I know, and I could see why it may be bothersome or confusing to new or newer visitors, but that's why we love it so much, and that we can kind of get off a ride and then go on an expedition trail and see some animals and learn something new. And it's immersive, and we have always loved it. So I love that you guys took the time to do that. So I hope you're all staying healthy and safe during this time still. Your podcast is certainly getting me through my days, and it's been awesome and a good distraction. So thank you so much. I hope everyone, like I said, is doing well and staying safe. So stay magical as well. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Hello, Lou Mongello. It's Darlene Nagy, formerly of West Seneca, New York, and I'm calling in to say it was a fabulous virtual race, Mad Hatter, Alice in Wonderland, this past weekend. I had a blast. I did a 5K. We're sold out. Our WDW Radio running team participated with those who did sign up. Sorry, I'm out for a bike ride. It's a beautiful day, the day after Mother's Day, and I hope everyone in our WDW Radio Box family, mothers, grandmothers, godmothers, fur baby mothers, and that all had a wonderful Mother's Day. And I know that the Wyoming trip is approximately 70 days away, and that cruise is coming up on Disney Cruise Line for Marvel Day at Sea. I think by then you guys should be able to get on that ship and feel very safe. I hope you have a wonderful, magical day. Stay positive, as Blue always says, and also choose the good. Love and hugs.
Welcome to the Walt Disney World Vacation Complex, including Epcot Center and the Magic Kingdom. Today, Epcot Center is open from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. The Magic Kingdom is open from 9 a.m. to 12 midnight. If you're going to a Walt Disney World Resort Hotel, please follow the signs or use the 2 far right-hand lanes at the Magic Kingdom or Epcot Center Auto Plaza. Ask the host or hostess any dining or lodging questions you may have. If you need handicapped assistance or information, also use the far right-hand lanes. For your best ticket value, choose a 3 or 4 day multi-day world passport and save between $10 and $19.50. Multi-day passports are good for unlimited admission to both parks, plus use of all Walt Disney World transportation. Use your multi-day world passport 3 or 4 days in a row or 1 day at a time, any day of the week, month, or year, any year, until you've enjoyed all 3 or 4 visits. Multi-day world passports are good forever. For your convenience, 3 kennels are located throughout the Vacation Kingdom and provide service for a nominal charge. Please do not leave pets in the car. Strollers and wheelchairs may be rented at the Magic Kingdom or Epcot Center entrance.